What would you do if you were watching your favorite anime and your parents annoyed you? Would you stop whatever you were doing and help them? Or would you get irritated? Or would you do something even worse? This is a twisted tale from Japan that did just that, and it happened as recently as June 2021, this year. Before we start, I would like to say thanks for tuning in for this week's story. My name is Caesar, and welcome to Caesar Talks, the channel for weekly real crime and stories from around the world. Without further ado, this is the tragic story of Matsumoto Junji. The Matsumoto family is a rather well-off family in the local area of Nishiku, Fukuoka City. The patriarch of the family, Matsumoto Hirokatsu, 88 years old, lived with his wife of 87 years old, Tojo Makie. He worked within the construction industry before he retired, and he has a liquor shop on the first floor of his house, which was run by Makie, his wife. He has two sons. Junji is the younger of the two, and he is generally known as a quiet and introverted when he was a child. He didn't speak much. Even when he was called upon in the classroom, he would either not respond or say he was feeling unwell. When asked about his dream, he'd rather not say, but quietly admitted that he wanted to be a scientist as he was rather good at science and math. After graduating from high school, he found a job. However, he quit not too long after, all because he couldn't adjust to the workplace, and he never went back to work again. He became a part of Japan's NEET culture. NEET, which stands for Not in Education, Employment or Training, refers to a person who is unemployed and not receiving educations or vocational training. The Matsumoto family themselves had been running a local liquor store up until around 20 years ago, and Junji had been helping the family alongside his elder brother. But it was made known to the public that the elder brother has been admitted to a mental hospital for around 10 years now. And initially, the older brother was the one to succeed in the business. But despite the fact Junji was available to help the family's business, the father decided not to give the business to Junji. Instead, he decided to close up the shop for good. Some people said the father did not believe that Junji had what it takes to get the business back up again, with rival supermarkets that began popping up in the area. And as such, Junji, the quiet and introverted man, stayed jobless for over 40 years. By 2021, he was already 59 years old. Not much else was known about Junji. All we know is that he lived with his parents at their home and had no savings. He used the money from the pensions and savings of his parents to survive and live an isolated life at home with them. One day, around the year 2000, perhaps due to the stress of the shop closure and the conditions of her son, Makie, the mother, suffered a heart attack, and the condition has worsened. She was wheelchaired for the most part, and in the end, Hirokatsu in his 60s had to step up to take care of the household duties and Makie, while Junji was still living with the two of them. On June 13, 2021, an unfortunate incident happened to Hirokatsu. When he was riding a bicycle, he fell and knocked his head. He was eventually also laid in a wheelchair. This meant that Junji was now solely responsible to take care of his two elderly wheelchair-bound sick parents. Junji had been taking care of their meals, cleaning, bathing, and taking them to the toilet. On that day, Junji was at home as per usual. He was watching his favorite anime when his father, Hirokatsu, kept asking Junji to take him to the bathroom repeatedly, and he was angry when his son wouldn't tend to him. The media quoted Junji saying, "During a good scene in an anime, my father repeatedly called for me to take care of him. Because he complained about me, I killed him." He grabbed an electrical cord and strangled his father. the wheelchair-bound father, was helpless. He was fighting for his life, but to no avail. He died instantly. The commotion startled the mother, and she, in the end, witnessed the murder. The murder of his husband by her own son. Junji, without giving a second thought, went straight to the mother and strangled her too. She too was helpless and died soon after. Panic sets in, and it made Junji took both of their bodies and placed them in an empty commercial refrigerator, the same one being used a long time ago when the liquor shop was still open. The fridge itself was unplugged. Afterward, he grabbed some duct tape and covered the glass front. He stacked the bodies on top of each other and left it be. The day after the killing of his parents, on June 21st, Junji called the rehab hospital where his mother had an appointment and cancelled it, saying she has been hospitalized. Then, 2 days later, he also contacted the city welfare office, who was planning to visit that day, and postponed the visit for a day. He was also seen by the neighbors riding his bike alone during those few days after the murder. The neighbors reported nothing was stranger than usual. The quiet Junji keeps to himself at most times. However, Junji was panicking inside, and he was planning to run away from his crime. He withdrew his parents' money using their bank cards amounting to almost 1,000,000 yen or $10,000, and later he bought a series of train tickets heading north to Tohoku region. He would move from prefecture to prefecture and was noted to have stopped in Akita, Iwate, Kanagawa, all the way back to Kyoto. While on the run, relatives of the family tried to get in contact with Hirokazu and Makie, but they just couldn't get any response. So the police had to be called to do a checkup on them on June 28th. On this day, the police entered the home and noticed a strange odor coming from the fridge. They opened the fridge and were shocked to find the decaying bodies of Junji's parents. And because they couldn't find Junji, he became a person of interest, and the police started to look for him. It was not long before the police managed to trace him. On July 4th, the police apprehended Junji in a hotel parking lot in Kyoto. At first, Junji admitted that he only hid his parents' body in the fridge, but it did not take long for the police to get the real story from Junji. He soon confessed to killing both of his parents by strangulation with an electrical cord. Currently, he is still held in the police custody, and he is still waiting for a trial date for official charges. Most likely, Junji, who is in custody right now, will have to go through medical examinations to see if he is fit to face trial. Once prosecutors build a case and the trial is confirmed, Junji could face anything from the death penalty or life in prison to being placed in a mental facility, depending on his mental state and the evidence. That's it for today's story, guys. What do you think of the story? Do you think this type of case will be more apparent in the future? With all the aging populations and not enough support structures for the elderly, do you think another Junji will appear and reenact a similar tragedy? What would you do if you were in Junji's position? Please do leave some comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for weekly uploads. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers!